All right. Well, welcome back to This is Living. I am your host, Julie Landy, for today's episode, and the founder of Live Your Vision, which is a women's transformative coaching organization that helps women really discover and develop and distribute their gifts for a great new chapter. Now, their new chapter may include many things, and it may include the need to be more fit financially or physically or mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. Usually all of the above. I will say
Yes.
that. And so I'm super excited to have one of our great team members and also one of my best friends here to interview her today, because she really does help me definitely stay fit and sane. We'll say it that way, in the mental capacity, and certainly has spiritually in the past and does now. But right now, she's really focusing on the physical, and it's more of a holistic physical approach. So I'm going to let her tell you about that herself. But for those of you that are really looking to create and advance into a new chapter, I hope you realize by now that it's multifaceted. It's not just going to happen in one area. I have had many women that I've worked with that are just killing it financially while their relationships are falling apart. I've had not many women killing it professionally and making great impact. Meanwhile, their health is falling apart. I mean, I've had many women be all into their health, but feel so unfulfilled professionally and with their impact or their kids or their family. So I just think the women today, the women I work with, bottom line, we kind of want it all. And we don't want to necessarily be good at everything, but we do want this great opportunity to be able to tap into the 5 things that most of the women that I work with consider important. And that is family, friendship, faith, finances, and fun. So it's just important, yes, to have fun. So without any further ado, I have one of my most fun friends with me today. So please welcome Lorna Heide.
Hey, Julie, and everybody out there. I am so glad to be here. Just to give you a brief understanding of who I am a 58-year-old woman. I live in Orlando, Florida. I'm married to Dennis Heide. I've been married 30 years. I think it's 30. And I don't pride myself in my memory, but I pride myself in my growth. And so I have 2 children. Our daughter is 26, just graduated from medical school yesterday. We didn't call her Dr. Heide until yesterday. So now we get to call her that. She's going to surgery back in Denver. I'm from Colorado, primarily from all over the place. And so to have her go back there is really interesting. And life is just so deep and intriguing. Our son is 30 years old and has been an amazing, emotionally deep part of my life. We've grown a lot emotionally together, as my daughter has as well. But I just love the depth of my children. And I treasure that and honor that. Our son has started up a company with my husband in another field, and they are now working together. And that's a whole other part of the story. But I currently am a yoga instructor and a life coach. I work with Live Your Vision. If you've heard of it, it's a fantastic group. But I also have been growing that on, just learning how to be a life coach, being trained and certified, et cetera. And I've always worked with women. I worked in the ministry for many years. I love women. I love our intricacies, but I just love the sisterhood and the connection that we have. So that's just a quick, brief bottom line of who I am.
I love it. Thank you so much, my friend. Yes, Lorna and I go back like 30 years. So our kids are friends too. So before Mackenzie and Hunter and Natasha and Misha were born, we were friends, and then we were there at their births. So it was really, really fun. And they've been friends ever since. So it's fun to do family outings. But it's fun. It's not common that you can have a friend that you do business with. And we've been partners in many different endeavors, whether it was the ministry or now in the coaching field. So tell us a little bit about what led you down this pathway to the chapter you're in now. Because I know people are like, okay, you guys have parallel lives in many ways, but how'd you get back together in terms of professionally?
Right. And how does this happen? And I will answer more of that also actually in the questions following. I know we're going to talk about some different things, but really what has led me to this is I, again, love the deeper things in life. And I didn't honestly really know how to even begin to define. I'm so amazed at humanity and how we're such like blank slates and how we don't know what we don't know. We're like born in this world and there we are like, hello, I'm alive. And then you start absorbing what you have and what's around you. And that's what you've got. And then you try to expand what you have. And I really had a dear friend in college, honestly, Molly, shout out to Molly, who taught me that she was honestly, I felt my first instructor on how to identify emotion.
Wow.
who knew that you even needed to identify it? Like, it's just not something you ever talk about. And we came from like the greatest generation who, they plow on through emotion. And
Right.
so, yeah, this person was a really integral part of my world, an unexpected teacher. And through the different challenges, et cetera, that led me to being in the ministry. I wanted to work with people and help guide, et cetera. And I loved that. I learned much. And yet what I always yearned for was training. I wanted more training. Now, as I will discuss more later, I wasn't great at finding the training. And so that's another big part of my growth is like, oh, I'm driving the truck. I'm driving the bus, the life bus. And that is just like an aha for me that I've had over the years. And I would call my friends, like I would call Julie as I was going through, life traumas, or I would call different people and ask for momentary training. But I just never stepped into a place of growth and training, like cognitively, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
So that led me to frustration, which led me to begin to look, how like a necessity is the mother of invention.
Right.
So you've got to first go through necessity, and that's never fun. Like the Dust Bowl of the 1920s, I went through that for a few years. And then you find something to clear away the dust, and then that's the yay, that's the happy. And so that's what led me to life coaching, et cetera, and wanting to help others to also have that opportunity.
It's so funny because I used to say to myself when I was younger, I'd be like, gosh, I would do anything for someone that was successful to take me in under their wing and show me how to do this. I don't know if that's a common thing, but now just hearing you say that, I'm like, I wonder how many younger people and even and older people too, like long for someone to show them the way, to take them under their wing and give them sort of mentorship or training or guidance, just to walk with them. And I prayed for that and longed for that and like just wished for it long before I even knew how to pray. But I just thought it was really interesting that you brought that up. So on your pursuit to your dream, to your pathway, now being able to do, really what you love doing, which is like helping people in the physical realm, helping people in the spiritual realm, and now helping people in the cognitive realm to grow as you are growing yourself. What would you say some of the good, the bad, and the ugly of that pathway were? Because, we all have a dream. We all have sort of this ideal that we're striving to achieve. But, and of course, on social media and every other place, the pathway looks like it's easy and ideal as well. We never really understand the whole pathway. Or sometimes all we hear about is the tragedy along the way that produced the pathway. But it's not usually, what I found is it's not one or the other. There's a mix. So tell us a little bit about the good, if you will, like the benefits. Let's just go there to the benefits, the fulfillment, maybe the surprises that were yours along the way.
I love that. And okay, see, and I love questions like this. And this is why I love us women, because I think, we go down this road. And it's funny because based on what you said earlier, I honestly remember we moved from Kansas City, Missouri. I went to private French Catholic school to the mountains of Colorado. We built a house and I had to pee in the woods. Okay, for a while there. Moved to England, moved into this, private school again. And I remember being like, the only person I knew that I could get help from was Ann Landers. If y'all know who Ann Landers is.
Oh my God.
Ann Landers.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, where do you get the help? And so I was like, I guess it's Ann Landers. And I never did write her, but it's funny. I love that question because I think we are all yearning for that. So the good, the benefits, the good, the bad, and the ugly of pursuing the pathway of pursuing my dream. The good is that I have learned something really profound for myself. And I know it's almost maybe seems super obvious, but I think that's frequently what simple genius is that it is obvious, but it's not, so that it takes time and concerted effort and patience to create space for the new to be able to make itself evident.
Wow.
That was my thought out answer there. Okay. So like, it really does, it takes time. And then to take the steps before you're even sure, which is really hard. Cause like, I think I have super allowed myself to be classified as a non-planner. We can have a whole nother interview on how to keep people from acting, asking you to take responsibility for things. Like, hey, Lorna, can you lead the party? They don't, because I've made it clear that, oh, you don't want to ask Lorna. But it's funny, I really did that so that I think that I would, because I wasn't sure, I didn't know what I was or who I was. And so I had to start making steps before I was sure what I was. And I didn't know that really that's probably how the whole world has ticked the entire time. I just kept thinking it would fall on me like this big, I don't know, like, like a knight in shining armor, comes, ta-da, here's your future, here's your answer. And that never happened. And so it's been really good to learn that. I've learned that by focusing in, of course, on what honestly brings me joy is not shallow and is not stupid or just like inconsequential. Like what really brings me joy.
That's a big deal because I think there are so many women that think, you know what, that's totally selfish, or it's totally shallow, or it's totally luxurious. There's some disclaimer about why not to do that. And I just think that's missing like the compass heading. Like I feel like God is trying to direct us through the ways that we find joy, and we are like, no, I can't. No, I can't.
Yeah, right. That's irresponsible to be joyful. I mean, right?
I love it. So I love the fact that on the pathway to becoming, into this new space that you're in, you focused on looking at things that bring you joy. I think that's really great. That was one of the sweet, sweet surprises, I suppose, that came about. Like, that's what I get to do now.
Exactly. Like it taught, like the pathway, the good is that it like, I've become a more intelligent woman. I've learned how to become like the benefits are that, oh my gosh, like this is what, wisdom looked like. I'm not at the end of wisdom, but I am more wise. I am, and I am more mature. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Like this is what an adult woman should be doing. Like we're supposed to come to learnings. Ta-da. And I am, like, go figure. Like I have concrete things I can tell, the young ones, should they want to know. This is what I've learned, and this is what has helped me, and maybe it will help you. It's like I know how to gain trajectory, I know how to gain movement, and I know how to keep focus, and it helps me to have more joy. Honestly, like it helps me to actually hold down that joy because it doesn't fly away. It's not an elusive thing, again, because it's a practice. Like I've learned the practice of joy. And honestly, I remember in college seeing the cover of a Time magazine that had joy written on it, and I was like, I like probably bought the magazine. I was probably so broke. It was like I found quarters in my couch and bought that Time magazine because I wanted joy so badly. It's been like an elusive search my entire life. Finding it through different means, but learning how to put all those things together required some maturity and the good of this path.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I just think that, it is true that you didn't know that one of the very good things about pursuing your dream, and maybe that's the obvious in some ways, but some people are they think that it shouldn't be, is the joy. Most people will think, okay, pursuing a dream means a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice.
Right.
Not a lot of joy on the pathway. So I appreciate that you bringing that up, that's an indicator light that we should pay attention to and pursue. So tell us, okay, we have to move on to the next one. So what is the bad? And what we're defining as bad for our audience is that bad is those things hard things or challenges, obstacles that became opportunities.
Yeah. Obstacles that became opportunities. Okay. The truly bad, just in a nutshell, one that was really like stood out was at the time I put myself voluntarily into a really important role in a work situation. We started a company and it was very heartfelt and it was ours. And I joyfully, woohoo! Lorna's enthusiastic also, by the way. I'm enthusiastic. And I joined in and I became a part of it. I did this with eyes wide open eyes, big open heart, but with absolutely no coaching, and did not find someone who was specifically chosen to be present in my life, who was positive, who was intelligent to the need at hand, which was very important. I just didn't stop and think about this at all. And also they were able to help decipher and plan for future movement. And worse yet, I kept going to the leaders around me. Like I would be like, oh, you're a leader, or you're I don't know, someone with authority, or you're smart. Could you please help find this for me? And it was bad. It was not smart. It was allowing others to drive my ship again, basically, because I didn't the responsibility, so to speak. I didn't really think I knew how to find it, etc. But I didn't, therefore I just stopped. That turned into what would be the next ugly part would be, it turned into bitterness and blame and a really slippery slope. So it was pretty bad. I just stayed in that situation. I didn't know how to get out of it. And I just kept on working, sister. Doggone it. It was pretty bad for everyone around me.
And what I hear is if you had stayed there, like in terms of your evolution, that would have been where you stopped, and it did turn into the ugly. Like, and sometimes the obstacles can turn ugly.
Yes.
However, if you're not moving forward with, as you said, coaching or mindset work or something that where you can then begin to see the opportunities that came out of that. So what would you say is one opportunity that came through that experience, I'll say?
Yeah, absolutely. My lack of personal direction and growth and care, kind of like responsibility, it totally finally opened my eyes, because you start seeing, you finally paint a palette. Yeah, if you're looking, which we are,
Yeah.
you see the result. I mean, ultimately you're like, oh my gosh, like this is not okay. This is bad. And so it made me aware, it opened my eyes to the absolute necessity for that coaching. Like it was, again, like joy. It was like optional. Like, well, it's like the arts in school. Well, maybe we should just cancel the arts and we'll stick with the sciences. You know what I mean? But all the art people are like, wait, that's the foundation of creativity. And I feel like I was calling coaching and guidance like extra, like, oh my gosh, Lorna, are you so weak?
Yeah,
like, what up, sister? We don't have the money for that. I mean, it was like totally optional. And so finally what it did was I finally stopped. Like it made me stop. And I could have kept going, because I was writing some thoughts out as I was talking about this thing. Some people are like, and then I had to stop. I hit a wall. And I mean, I didn't, but I didn't hit a wall. I could have kept on slogging, because you just do it. And I wasn't dying. You know what I mean? Here I was, fine. The kids were growing up, but I stopped because I finally understood. Like 15, 20 years later, I was like, oh my gosh, this is not okay. So I got awareness. I didn't know it was the beginning of awareness, and it led me to yoga and to nature. I was like just falling apart. I was just not happy. And it would force me, honestly, since I've been happy, let me tell you, since I've been happier and been, my life has been on track, it has been very challenging for me to go mountain bike riding. And I love mountain bike riding. And I live in Florida, so that's a euphemism. I go trail bike riding, but it's so beautiful and it's amazing. I don't want to, detract to another conversation, but my point is that now that I don't have stress, I don't have to go to the woods and go biking. So now I have to decide to go. The yoga also came into my life because a friend was worried about me and was concerned, and for my marriage, and bought my husband and me both like a month pass. So it was rude not to go once, because I'm like, who does a hot yoga in Florida? And it changed my life. It led me to the good of, they were saying positive words, and I was still. That's my long answer to your question.
That's really cool. So that knot hole you went through really did lead you down to the pathway of a lot of opportunities that opened up for you, whether it's coaching, mentorship yourself or others, and then obviously the yoga. So, okay. So what would you say you're most proud of that you have grown in or accomplished to date?
My most proud of accomplished to date, I'm very proud of the fact I haven't caved in and gone back to the corporate sales world. My husband may not be quite as excited about that, but I am so proud of myself, because it's been literally like, it's just like when I stopped, it was the first, that's an overstatement. Okay. It wasn't the first time, but it was a very self-preservation decision. And it was one that was very important for me. And I, as a mother, a wife, a woman, a sister, and all these things, not to sound like martyrs, but we are taking care of everybody. And I'm very proud of the fact that I've stuck to my guns, and I'm forging on. Like, I'm building a business. I'm building my own yoga business, my own coaching business. I'm growing with a team. Honestly, one of my biggest proud things, honestly, I'm realizing right now is the fact that, and I told a woman this today in yoga, that is the fact that I embrace and love team.
Wow.
Like, I cut off team. I was like, Ixnay on the Imte. And I am most proud, honestly, the fact that I embrace and I see the good of team. Like, I like it now. I'm a healthier brain for it now. It's so, and thank you, Julie. You've been part of that transformation for me. And that's amazing. I'm really proud of that. It's amazing.
I know. It's so exciting, because I love having you number one on the team, but obviously it's been fun to see. And I've appreciated that you've stuck to your guns. You're like, I could go back to corporate for the money, but I honestly really, the draw and where the happiness, the joy is not there for me.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah. So what advice would you give to anyone wanting to make more impact and create a new chapter from the position you're in now? What advice would you give them?
I would absolutely say, get a positive. Now look me in the eye, girls. Take off my glasses. My glasses. Get a positive and encouraging and kind and emotionally intelligent Coach. Now you can also get a counselor too. Maybe go find a support group. But you get a coach, and a coach is different because you're going towards things. It's not, you don't have to know what the goal is. Bear that in mind, FYI, because I didn't know that. I didn't know. So coaching I didn't feel like it was accessible because I didn't know what I was going to do. But a coach helps you to decipher that, helps you to think in place, like a financial coach. You can go to financial advising, by the way, even if you don't have money. I found that out in my life, and I didn't know it, so I would avoid getting help when I was El Broco. But just like children, I was telling someone this morning also that yoga is my IEP. If you're someone out there who knows what IEP is, you know what that is, like a student, whatever. It's like we all learn differently. So my advice is to embrace that. Do not flog yourself. Maybe you're like dyslexic emotionally, okay? Or maybe you're like, whatever it is, you have some learning. So go get someone who can speak your language, and they will work with you, and they help you. And you'll know that the flag, the sign that they're working with you is that you like working with them. That's not that complicated. That means they're not working with you. Okay. So that's my advice to you.
Okay. So you started to say earlier in our conversation about what you were excited about, but what are you most excited about now? Having worked through so much and come through on, really feel like you're living now. What are you most excited about that's coming up?
So I am excited about about getting coached. Like, it's just really, and not to sound so trite, but I get scattered. Okay, I do. I get scattered, and I get really excited. And I have 100 ideas every day, and some of them are really good ideas. Every day there's always at least one great idea. And one of my friends, my coach, Julie, has told me to start my videos, my yoga videos. And I'm like, well, why? And I'm like, but then I realized I'm making videos. So my long answer to your question is making my yoga videos and staying focused on that, and then collaborating with other women. It's just constantly a growth experience. I want to work with other women, and we are, and it's been so fun doing that. And then also in the yoga world, where I can reach into other people's lives and make it accessible for them. You don't have to be like a Wonder Woman to get the benefit of yoga, which is strengthening and also just slowing down your brain.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay. So where are people going to be able to find your yoga videos?
They're going to find me on YouTube, Lorna Heide, LornaHeide. And actually it will become more accessible. You'll find me through Live Your Vision also, and on my social media through Lorna Heide on Instagram. There will be a little perk for you to touch there, and on Facebook.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today, and the wisdom that you've given us, whether it's pursue joy or, hold on to what you're doing, get a coach, really listen to those indicator lights, and then, know that there's a bigger plan for you. And I appreciate it. There's lots and lots ahead for all the women. And, whether you're 58 or 60 or whatever you are, we have a lot of runway ahead of us, right, girls? We do. That's what I say. So thank you so much. Please like, comment, share, whatever it is that you want to hear. And then by all means, start to look for Lorna's yoga videos. She introduced me to yoga. As a matter of fact, so funny, you pay it forward, but she introduced me to yoga, and I have loved the effects. It is just what I've needed to strengthen and stretch and kind of have core strength and all the things that make me feel more centered and grounded, but at the same time fit, strong and flexible, which is what I really wanted in my later years in my life, or next years of my life. Right. But anyway, thank you for the introduction to yoga, my friend. It's always been a pleasure. Remember that always, that time. Come on, let's go to this hot yoga class. Okay.
Power yoga, girls. Try it. It's different.
Exactly. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Join us again for another episode, and we will look forward to seeing you on This Is Living. Take care.